Hello, and welcome to my Squishy as Hell Creature of the Night Sorc, Magicka Sorc build, my Electrocutioner build. This build, you're not going to 1vx anything, you're going to die a lot, and your job is to execute low health enemies. You're very squishy, not a lot of sustain. It's PvP build, and it's one of the best keep defense builds. Very good for removing groups of enemy players, but get caught and you will die pretty quickly. So again, you've got to play this pretty sensibly and pretty conservatively, but you will rack up a lot of kills with this build. I'm going to go through the equipment first of all. I am running a 5-piece of the Netch's Touch. Netch's Touch is a set you can get in Darkshade Caverns, either 1 or 2. It will give you health, magicka, spell damage, and 400 spell damage to your shock damage abilities. This build is based around Mage's Wrath, executing people. So this is why we use Netch's Touch. I've got sharpened lightning staff, I've got my back bar, I've got restoration staff. Would ideally have it infused, so that would increase my absorb magicka enchantment because you use that for sustain, but I don't have it. I've got a precise one instead, so I would just run with this at the moment. So I run 5 pieces of Netch's Touch. I have obviously I also run Vicious Death. So Vicious Death gives you spell damage, max magicka, spell crit, and when you kill a player in Cyrodiil, they will explode for X amount of damage, flame damage to all other people in a 4-meter radius. So once you execute them, they'll explode and hit other people and hurt them, and you can execute those people and they'll kill other people. It's good if people are bunched up together just to get a lot of execution in very quick succession. I am trying to get infused on the big pieces and divines on the small pieces, all magicka enchants obviously. I currently wearing divines on my chest. I'd love to get this infused, but I can't at the moment because I just haven't got the pieces. As a 1-piece, I use Elambris. I use the Elambris set because it gives me max magicka. You could put 1-piece Keener in here for additional spell damage, but I don't. I just think the max magicka is good for shield size and stuff like this. I think it's got just as much utility as the spell damage. I don't run other monster helms for the Sorc, so I don't run a set of them to get the 2-piece bonus. None of them really help with this build. Keener would be too expensive on resources, you can't really run a decent weave with it. Infernal Guardian, I haven't got any boosters on fire damage, doesn't really help me. Falcon Scoria, I do 0 dots, absolutely nothing to proc off that, only lightning, a heavy attack. It's a proc. Elambris is brilliant for PvE, but for PvP people just move out their AoE, so I don't use that either. In terms of the jewellery, I do run spell enchants on the Vicious Death rings and necklaces. I go for Vicious Death on these because I picked them up for the gold ones, just to make sure that I get the full amount of the 5-piece bonus. Now these are not cheap, they are 200,000 for a ring, roughly 150k for a necklace, so they're not cheap. You can have to spend some gold on that, but you can run this with purple jewellery, no problem. I did for a long time and I became Emp without them as well, so it's not really a problem having purple ones instead. Let's go through some of the skills, and there's a reason why I didn't go for dual wield as well. First of all, you're ranged. You need to keep your range from people. Secondly, ult generation is not great because you have to get up close and personal for people to get the light attacks in, so you can't really do a weave at all. No sustain because you can't weave on a dual wield, and in addition, if you're doing, if you're a ranged caster, how the hell do you proc your weapon enchants on them as well? So I just don't like the dual wield stuff. So again, no monster helm. Do not have the set pieces available for it. I'm going to go through armor passes first of all, just to make sure you know why I'm running full light armor. So here we've got evocation, that will reduce the cost of my spells. Recovery will give me magicka recovery for each equipment piece on there. Spell warding's okay, it's not critical from the build. Prodigy increases your spell critical rating, and in terms of your spell penetration, concentration is really good. So a lot of people do run heavy armor as Sorcs. They run rattle cage quite a lot as well for the spell power, but you've got potions, entropy, power surge that can all give you that. So I wouldn't go on this kind of like build. I wouldn't do anything apart from full light. Rely on your shields to keep you alive. That's all you've got, to be honest with you. Another sense of passive as well is on the destruction staff abilities. I only use one destruction staff ability, and that is the Thunderous Rage, which is the ultimate. So that's the only one I use. But if I look at the passives in here, so shock heavy attack. So my lightning staff, that will do some AoE damage to the people around me. Penetrating magic will boost our ulti, so again get some more kind of like penetration for that. Ancient knowledge as well, so lightning staff increases damage done with area effect abilities by 8%, which again is what my ultimate is, an AoE. And Destruction Expert, you restore 3,600 Magicka when you kill an enemy with Destruction Staff ability. Not brilliant. The only things you would kill people with would be the ulti as well, but that's not the real main source of how we kill people anyway. On the Restoration Staff, there's a few key ones as well. So if I look at Essence Drain, so that it will give you basically it will give you some magic, some health back every time you do a heavy attack. We have got Cycle of Life, so again when you do a heavy attack you get some additional Magicka back as well. Absorb would be OP for us, to be honest with you, because you know if we block this, it's got no cooldown theoretically every time you're blocking on a Restoration Staff, then basically you're getting some Magicka back, which would help with the sustain. But to be honest with you, you don't really blocking too much. If a meteor comes in, you want to block that, but you want to be streaking away, putting your shields up. That is your main form of defense. In terms of racial skills, I am a BRETON, and I like the increased Magicka here from Gift of the Magnus. Spell resistance is nice as well because you're ranged, so obviously you're going to be hit by spells more than anything else, not by melee attacks, so you want to keep yourself well away from those dizzying swing spammers. And Magicka Mastery is good because again you get a further Magicka cost reduction as well. You could go high elf for more damage, but Breton works fine for me. I am also a vampire. So let's look at some of the vampire passives. Again, don't use any of the active skills. Supernatural recovery gives you Magicka and stamina recovery, increased by 10%. Undeath means you're a little bit more survivable when you get to low health as well. But possibly the most important one here is the Darkstalker passive. So ignoring the movement speed penalty while in crouch. This is really, really good because a lot of the time, you know, you're moving around the battlefield in stealth the whole time. So even though my stamp pool's not massive, I can still sneak around and get around the battlefield quite often, quite easily. This is really for positioning. You need to get yourself into a position where you can drop a Destro ulti on the people or a negate on the people, or you know, make sure you're in range to be able to go and do your abilities right. So this really keeps you away and hidden from everybody while you're on the battlefield. It's very, very good, and it's one of the best passive I think in the vampire line. Let's go and have a look at some other passives that are important. On the Mages Guild, there are two skills that passive skills that are important. The first one is Magicka Controller. So this one basically increases your max Magicka recovery by 2% for each Mages Guild ability slotted. So my current bonus is 2% because I've got inner lights on. And Might of the Guild gives me Empower. So again, I can empower my next attack. So if I have Crystal Frag procced on my hands, ready to throw at somebody, I can just do that first of all, throw the Crystal Frags, and it will throw at the person and hit them for 20% more. Next skills that I want to talk about are probably Fighters Guild. There's a lot of werewolves and also vampires in Cyrodiil. So again, every time you kill one of those, you get an additional 9 ultimate back. Alchemy is a non-negotiable player for any top player. Unnegotiable skill for any top player. You need to basically have the effects of your potions lasting 30% longer. When you take a Magicka potion, for example, you want the full 47 seconds of having that increased Magicka recovery as well. So again, that's important for you to go on use. And the final one, which is one of the more difficult ones to get, I haven't got it fully leveled up yet, is Leisure Demand. Again, this improved hiding, so reduces the cost of sneak by 20%. I'd love to get the full 40% reduction, but it's a lot of thieving, a lot of stealing that you've got to go and do to get this. Before I go on to my main bar skills, I'm going to talk about Sorc passives now, first of all. So on the Dark Magic, the first thing that's important here is Unholy Knowledge. So this reduces the Magicka and stamina ability, Magicka cost your abilities by 5%, which is a further kind of like spell cost reduction. Blood Magic is a heal, so every time you hit an enemy with those, either with your mines or crystal frags, it's going to heal you for 8% of your max health or your negate as well. Persistence, this will increase the duration of the amount of time your mines are on the floor. It will also increase the duration of your negates. And also this one called Exploitation. So casting a dark magic ability grants minor prophecy to you and your group, increasing your spell critical by 657 20 seconds. This is of really good group utility. This is the only kind of like on-demand source of minor prophecy in the game. It also helps all of your group hit harder as well. So again, I think this is a very important passive. In terms of the DAEDRIK summoning ones, there's only a couple in here that I think are important. Power Stone reduces the cost of your ultimate by 5%, and also when you've got a health and stamina recovery in there as well, by 20% when you've got a DAEDRIK summoning ability slotted, and I've got Bound at Aegis double barred, so I've always got that available. So I've got a little bit of health and stamina recovery, helps a little bit. I am a vampire, I don't have much health recovery on this build, it helps a little bit as well. So I'm now going to go on to talk about the skills that I have on my bars. So on my first bar I have got, this is my main damage bar, I've got crystal frags. So again, this is the one where this morph will basically, if you do any kind of like magic ability, there you go, you get these crystals kind of like on your hands, you see those. Once you do that, you can instantly cast that at somebody and it will do more damage to the person. Okay, so that's pretty important. I also hard cast Crystal Frag quite a lot, and people say never hard cast Crystal Frags, but you can. That's utter bullshit, and they don't know what they're talking about, and they'll call you a noob for doing it. But you can hard cast Crystal Frags, go to a light attack and go to Mage's Wrath, and nuke a lot of players down straight away. There's no reason for you not to be doing it. It's a cheap skill as well. So the people that say no, you should only be doing it when it's procs, I think they're talking bullshit. On this build specifically, you need to be hard casting Crystal Frags. Mage's Wrath, this is the #1 source of all of your kills in Cyrodiil. This is the main skill that the whole build is based around. It is a single target damage, execute, and it will also do a lot of AoE damage too. Okay, so the way that this works is you basically call down a strike of lightning and it kind of like puts a mark on them, right? So the additional shock damage you do on them is not going to be great if they're above 20% damage. If the enemy falls below 20% damage within 4 seconds, you'll do a tremendous amount of burst damage on that person. And if they fall below 20%, they're usually dead. Unless they're extremely tanky, they're going to go and die, okay, if they're in execute range. The way this kind of like this threshold works, if you hit someone at 30% health, and if they then drop below 20% within 4 seconds, it's going to proc, and it's going to go and hit them really hard. If they fall below 15%, then Implosion can also proc. I think I missed out the Stormcalling ones as well, right? So I'm talking about increased Magicka recovery of capacitor, increase your shock damage by 5%, and this Implosion passive. So you've got a 6% chance of the person falling underneath 15%. They're dead as well, because that will do shock damage to them at the same time. So this Execute Mage's Wrath, it absolutely wrecks players when it procs. It really does, because it's going to hit them hard and they're going to be under 20% health when it hits them as well. So really, if you want to go and wipe groups that are standing on a door or around or a group together, stick an Elemental Storm, Destro ulti on them as well. That will hit them hard. Spam a few Mage's Wraths. If you've got Crystal Frags, try and knock them over, because then they'll be sat in the Elemental Storm for a long time as well. Then Vicious Death starts to go and kick in, and then you do more and more AoE damage as well. The Mage's Wrath is also going to go and hit people around them as well, so that's going to do an additional shock damage to the people nearby as well. So it's an insane amount of burst AoE damage that's happening when you get all these things going together. So again, everything stacks with Netch as well. My Mage's Staff's got that additional lightning damage on it at the same time. So again, it's a really powerful skill. That's what you kill most people with. Bound at Aegis, so this basically gives you additional max Magicka, and it gives you physical and spell resistance by 1320. Now, you could go for the Bound Armaments morph as well. It's a stamina, but to be honest with you, the cost is not important. So what you do is you go into Cyrodiil, you put Bound Aegis on, it's on both bars, you never take it off, and you never use a skill again. That's it. So it doesn't really matter about the cost of this skill. It's absolutely irrelevant. Let's go on and have a look. Empowered Ward, I use Empowered Ward rather than Hardened Ward. The reason being is this will then give minor intellect to you and all your nearby allies, increase the Magicka recovery by 10% for 10 seconds. So again, if you're running in a group with Magicka players, this is going to go and help them with the sustain. Finally, I use Inner Light. The reason I use the Inner Light rather than Radiant Light is because I rely on Max Magicka quite a lot. So again, this gives me the 5% increase in Max Magicka, and you also get the spell critical rating up even further, so which is quite nice. Final thing I've got is my Thunderous Rage, and again this will do shock damage, so again gets boosted by my Netch abilities as well. In addition, I believe this does more damage than the fire ultimate. So I do the one you can cast. You can cast up to 28 meters away. You can put it you know, at the bottom of keeps, you can put it on the top of keeps, you can place it where you want to go and do it. It also lasts for 9 seconds because you get a 2-second additional duration on this as well. So you know, if you have, and I know that the fire one does 10% more damage, right? So imagine you have got 10,000 base damage over 7 seconds for the base morph, right? Flame's going to do 11,000 damage over 7 seconds, but the lightning one's going to do like 12,800 over 9 seconds as well. So it just does more damage. I think you can get more bang for your buck out of the lightning one than you do out of the fire one. Now I know obviously if you're done with Decayed, and fair enough, you want to go and run the fire morph on and have a fire staff on, but I just like this one. It suits the mage style better, I think. That's all. Let's go and have a look at the back bar. I'm running Daedric Tomb. I do not run Daedric Mine, which gives you the 5 mines around you. This one has far more utility. So again, you can just go and place them where you want to. You can place them down if you're standing on top of a keep. You can place them down on people down below who are on a ram or something like this. If people are, you've got a group of people coming towards you, you can just keep backing off. You can keep backing off. You can keep backing off, and you can keep slowing them down as well. You can place them where you want. I think it's just got far more utility than the 5 you put around you. I don't understand why people ever would not take this morph, but they do. This also gives you minor prophecy to the entire group. So again, we were talking about that dark magic ability. So we were talking about exploitation, that minor prophecy to you and your group for 20 seconds. So again, if I look at my character now, and you can see it's got a spell critical of 42.1. Throw those, my spell critical goes up to 45.1. Okay, so that's the way that kind of like works. I use, obviously Bound Aegis is kind of like double barred, so I've always got this on all the time. I use Streak as well, again boosted by the net, does quite a lot of damage to people, to be honest with you. I have killed people with Streak many times, especially low health, and because also I've got quite a lot of Magicka, this is your main way of escaping out. Just streak away until you can get into stealth. I've also got my next skill, which is Harness Magicka. So again, this is from the light armor skills. So again, it's another shield, and you can also, every time you take a spell, you restore some Magicka as well. Thing to note about this one is this does not bring you out of stealth. Okay, so you can do these buffs and not go out of stealth. Ward, however, brings you out of stealth temporarily, so you've got to be careful when you use Ward. Harness Magicka does not. Other skills I've got is Power Surge. Again, this is a heal for you. So every time This basically gives you your weapon damage and spell damage. So you keep this up for every 33 seconds. Just make sure you keep this up, and you'll have your full gun-like boost on your major sorcery. Also means you're doing any criticals will heal you as well, which is quite important. So again, you're doing quite a lot of AoE, especially when you've got your death rolls down, or you're kind of like using your Mage's Wrath. There's a lot of crits that come out, so it does actually heal you pretty well. It's not the best heal in the world, but it will heal you pretty well. And finally, I run Negate. I run Negate Suppression Field just for the additional damage, and this I don't use it all the time. Now, don't run around thinking because your death roll is so powerful that you can just go and spam this. That's the only one you'll ever go and use. It's situational. Use a Negate when you've got a bunch of Templars all spamming Breath of Life and they're in a close group. Stick a Negate over them, kill them, move on. Don't be tied to the fact that you're just using a death roll and you want to kill people all the time. It's not like that. So use Suppression Field. I use it. You could use Absorption Field as well. There's no massive difference between the two. You don't do a hell of a lot of damage with this, but again, just those groups of people, when the healers and the Templars are all stacked together, they're stuck on top of a resource, something like that, go there, drop this and your friends can wipe them. That's the way that this one works. So again, you could run things like power overload, and I know Netch would boost the abilities and stuff like this, and you can have extra utilities and stuff like that, but for me, Negate is just too powerful in group play to ignore. Next thing I want to go and talk about quickly is potions. So generally I'll run a movability potions. So this will give me health, Magicka, and make me movable for 6 seconds or 13 seconds, whatever it is, right? So again, I pop one of those, and it means you can't be stunned or feared and stuff like this, right? And then you can just get away, get the hell out of there, and you're usually fine. That's your main method of keeping yourself alive, is basically shields and streak. Shield and streak, stack your shield, streak. That's how you keep yourself alive with this build. So it just helps quite a lot with this one. So the movability pots really do help quite a lot. I use invincibility pots as well if I need to get someone on the battlefield. I also use detection pots. If you're just out there trying to find a Nightblade and stuff like that, but in general, what it's like in Cyrodiil. You got one potion, you got one food slotted, and the rest of it is all siege weapons. So you can't afford to run too many potions as part of this. So movability pots is your main kind of like balance in here. I'm going to talk about champions points. You could argue with these, to be honest with you. I'll frame it this way. I've got quite a lot on Elemental. I've got quite a lot on Elfborn. I've got a fair amount in Spell Erosion. I don't really have anything else in the blue tree. Could possibly put 1 point into Staff Expert. I just don't see the point at all. 1 into Thaumaturge, but again, Lightning Staff is the only dot I've got. In terms of these red ones, it's a little bit of a mess. Ironclad, I've got a little bit in there as well on Spell Shield. I should take those out and just stick them all in here. Get rid of that light armor focus one as well, and just stick them into Hardy, Elemental, and Thick Skin. That's what I should do. I need to go and do this. Bastion, I keep at 90 because again, I've got quite big shields because I got quite a lot of Magicka, as you'll see from the stat sheet in a minute. In the green tree, everything's into Magician 100. Reduces the cost of Magicka spells. I've got 78 in Arcanist as well, so increasing my Magicka recovery by 21%. Need everything I can on Magicka recovery because the stats aren't great. I've got nothing on my armor, on my jewelry that's going to give me any kind of Magicka recovery. Tiny little bits tumbling. This is for the break free. You don't want to be dodge rolling and wasting any stamina on dodge rolls. This is not what you're doing. The only time when you use dodge roll is when you fired a crystal frag at someone and you just thought, oh, hang on a minute, that DK has just popped his wings, and you're on top of the keep and you've got to roll out of the way just so you don't stun yourself. That is the only time you use dodge roll in this build. Food wise, you can choose one of 3, to be honest with you. So you could do Witch Mother's Brew for a little bit additional kind of like regens. You could go for the blue Magicka and max Magicka and max health ones, which this is the one I generally run, to be honest with you, in Cyrodiil. But also, if you've got all the scrolls and stuff like that, you can go with green stuff as well to boost your max Magicka, get yourself 6,000 max Magicka as well. So you can run green through with this build as well. Let's go and have a look at the character sheet. So let's just go and buff myself up. So quick surge, and that, get to the front bar. That's all the buffs I need. And here you go, 3000 spell damage, 48 spell critical, and I've got 44k max Magicka, so my shields are quite nice. My Magicka recovery is slow, and even with the ward coming up, it barely passes 930, right? So again, your Magicka recovery is really based on your passive skills, your harness Magicka, using your restoration staff and stuff like that, and killing people. Killing people really helps with your sustain, I found. Spell resist, rubbish. Physical resistance, rubbish. Crit resistance, rubbish. So again, you know, you've got to keep your shields up. If you haven't got your shields up, you're dead. If you get caught by anybody, any kind of character, by anyone in the open field, you're dead. So just don't get caught. Stealth around, nuke people down, get the hell out of there. That's what your build is to do. People should be remembering you on the battlefield for popping up out of nowhere, killing you, and not knowing where the hell you've gone. You've almost got to run this like a Nightblade, you know. And I think that's pretty much it for the build. I'm going to put a little montage of a few kind of like different situations where, you know, you kill people and you need people grouped up together to do a lot of damage, but it's insane AoE damage. It does a lot of damage, it does a lot of execution, kills a lot of people, and I managed to get imp with this build, so it can't be all bad. Anyway, look, if you've got any questions, got any suggestions and stuff like that around the build, then just let me know, put them in the comments. Anyway, and I hope you enjoyed. Laters.